Breaking news from WPTV News Channel 5.
All right, tracking Hurricane Laura made landfall as 150-mile-per-hour Category 4 hurricane. Now weakening. I'll let you know where this is going, plus your weekend forecast.
Dropped off at the wrong bus stop. How one father says it made him feel and what he wants to see happen. The big screen is back with 2 major movie theaters reopening for business. You'll have to obey some rules if you want to enjoy the latest blockbusters.
But first, we start with breaking news as the Gulf Coast is dealing with Hurricane Laura. This is a live look in Louisiana right now. Heavy wind and rain moving through. This is after the eye moved through already, so kind of the second half of the storm, if you will. We have team coverage of Hurricane Laura as you wake up this morning. WPTV First Alert meteorologist James Whelan. You've been following that storm's path for sure.
That's right, but we want to start with Erica Rayco with a new inside look at exactly what's going on underneath the track. Erica, what is the latest?
Breaking overnight, Isaias upgraded to a Category 1 hurricane. Most of the viewing area is under a tropical storm watch.
We have complete team coverage of the storm, and that includes a live look at preparations happening right now in Palm Beach County. WPTV's Cameron Effinger will have that in minutes.
First, the WPTV First Alert meteorologist Glenn Glazer, Katia Hall, starting us off. Glenn, take us through the storm's track and timing.
Good morning, everyone. It's in the 30s and 40s this morning, but it feels like the 20s in spots. We've called a weather alert for this morning. We'll talk more about that coming up.
Those cold temperatures could make iguanas fall from the trees.
Oh, yeah. Team coverage of the weather and what you need to know so you don't get hit by one of those guys.
And a desperate search for a plan B for homeless animals after a local city cut ties with its Humane Society. Get to all of that and more in just moments. But first, that snuggle alert is carrying into this morning, that's for sure. Look, there it is.
The flag was raised. Temperatures dramatically dropped overnight. Let's take a look at what we're waking up to right now. Okay, temperatures starting with a 3 and a 4. You know it's cold.
Hey, where's that feels like temperature, Glenn?
2 big breaking stories overnight. A deadly stampede in Iran as tensions escalate with the United States.
And all of Puerto Rico is in darkness after a major earthquake. Our team is tracking these breaking developments.
In just minutes, Erica Rayco will be at the live desk with what we've learned with new video and information coming in. Glenn?
All right, let's take a quick look at what's going on with our temperatures right now. We are in the 40s and 50s, one spot in the 60s, but a warmer day on the way.
And the flu could be hiding in your child's backpack. The simple step you can take this morning to keep them healthy.
Breaking news from WPTV News Channel 5.
On top of that breaking news, here's a live desk. 2 people in Florida have tested presumptively positive for coronavirus. What's being done right now to try and prevent an outbreak in our state?
The team is live across South Florida with complete coverage of this coronavirus outbreak.
We are breaking down the virus's impact on our community and how the state is preparing for the worst.
Plus, the warning from the Surgeon General, the health gear you shouldn't be wearing to protect yourself from the coronavirus. Of course, a lot to get to, but we need to take a look at your weather and traffic first. You're waking up with us here.
Yes, with our team coverage, let's first check in with First Alert meteorologist Glenn Glazer for the latest. And wow, people are waking up to all kinds of weather out there.
Yeah, it's a little kooky this morning because we've got temperatures that are in the low 50s, we've got temperatures in the 60s, and we've got temperatures in the 70s. So really, you step outside, you're going to have to feel for yourself what you think you might need to wear this morning. The good news is by this afternoon, everybody's going to be in the mid to upper 70s, so we'll all be about even by then. But starting off this morning with a wide range of temperatures. Winds are calm in a lot of spots where it's cooler, but we are getting some nice warm winds in spots where it's warmer this morning, and those winds are carrying in a couple of showers pretty close to the coast. They're just tiny little showers there. That little guy right there could be around Singer Island at 6:30 and Juneau Beach at about 6:38 this morning. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. Temperatures will climb into the upper 70s by early this afternoon. A few showers are possible. It's about a 10% chance today. So a chilly to mild morning and then a warm and breezy afternoon. We'll talk about temperatures near 90 degrees, question mark. We'll talk about that coming up later this half hour.
All right, here we go. WPTV First Alert traffic doing well as we enter a brand new hour, a brand new week. No slowdowns we're picking up on, so that's always a great way to start the Monday. Really any day, though. Midway, Crosstown Parkway, Gatlin Boulevard in view. You really can't beat those speeds right there. Royal Palm Beach, we're watching some of those eastbound, westbound roads. Things are moving pretty well. Southern Boulevard included, as well as Okeechobee Boulevard. Johan Hoffman, he is up and at 'em on this Monday with a view over the commuter chopper 5. West Palm Beach.
All right, right now 6:01. You know, Florida may be seeing its first cases of the coronavirus, but we have team coverage of that virus outbreak right now.
Now, Hani Rodriguez and Chris Gilmore are in the field with the state's response and also the impact on the economy. But we want to start with Erica Rako here at the live desk. And Erica, where are we seeing these coronavirus cases in Florida? Both are on the West Coast in the Tampa Bay area. We know one person is at Doctors Hospital in Sarasota, the other being treated in Hillsborough County. The State Department of Health tweeted that those people are in isolation and being properly cared for right now. Meanwhile, a second person in the U.S. has died from the virus. A man in his 50s and a man in his 70s have both passed away. They lived in Washington State. New York also has its first confirmed case, a woman who recently traveled to Iran. She's in isolation in her Manhattan home. The worldwide death toll now stands at more than 3,000. Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a statewide public health emergency because of coronavirus. He'll be in Tampa and in South Florida today to address the growing concerns. Our WPTV News Channel 5's Hani Rodriguez live right now at the Florida Department of Health in West Palm Beach. Hani, state leader here. Absolutely right, Erica. Governor DeSantis is working with federal partners as well as health professionals at every level, including the Palm Beach County Health Department, to ensure that they can handle any challenges that might come our way, of course, about the coronavirus. He also said Florida is well equipped to address future cases of the coronavirus. Governor DeSantis is also working with the Surgeon General, Dr. Scott Rivkees, to continue discussing their response plan. When he first met with Vice President Mike Pence on Friday right here in West Palm, he also requested local testing kits and additional medical supplies for those that may be held in isolation for an extended period of time. We, of course, continue to stay on top of this story, and we'll be sure to push out any new developments through our free WPTV News mobile app. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll talk about what each school district is doing to protect your children. For now, reporting live here in Palm Beach County, I'm Hani Rodriguez, WPTV News Channel 5. Well, you will be feeling the effects of the coronavirus at the gas pump as well.
Perhaps a small silver lining in the midst of all of this news. WPTV News Channel 5's Chris Gilmore live in Royal Palm Beach, and you say drivers are about to save a little bit of money, Chris.
Oh, yeah, Mike Ashley, the national average price of gas right now is at $2.44 a gallon. That's 3 cents cheaper than last week. Locally, here at Royal Palm Beach at the racetrack off of Southern, we're looking at prices at $2.35 a gallon. Almost every pump over there at the gas station is filled with people looking forward to take advantage of those low prices that are only expected to get lower by 20 cents before the end of the week, according to AAA. This is all over concerns that the coronavirus will reduce the global demand for products like jet fuel and gasoline. Closing fuel prices on Friday were the lowest since December 2018. According to AAA, over the past 6 days, the price of a barrel of crude oil dropped $9 to $44.76. Air travel to places like China and Italy that are affected by the coronavirus are expected to kind of taper off as well while we continue to monitor the spread of this virus. Reporting live from Royal Palm Beach, Chris Gilmore, WPTV News Channel 5.
With those coronavirus fears rising across the country, people are stocking up on cleaning supplies.
CVS, Walgreens tell us they've seen an increase in demand for hand sanitizer, cleaning wipes, and face masks. The demand is so high, CVS is worried there could be a shortage. Remember, the Centers for Disease Control says the best way to battle the coronavirus is washing your hands thoroughly for 20 seconds with soap and water.
And the U.S. Surgeon General is asking you to stop buying face masks. Government officials say face masks are not necessary if you're healthy and they don't entirely provide protection against the disease. Also, the purchases deplete the supplies available for medical professionals. Federal government says it is taking steps to increase availability of respirator masks and will prioritize them for healthcare workers.
If we as healthcare providers do not have the tools we need, some of us may not feel safe going to work. And then all kinds of other things will break down.
So the CDC says that masks should be worn only by medical professionals and those who are actually infected with the virus.
President Donald Trump announcing new screening procedures to help stop the coronavirus from spreading in the United States, and they're going to be implemented at airports across the country. Here's what we're talking about in a tweet yesterday. He said that in addition to screening travelers prior to boarding from certain high-risk countries, they will also be screened when they arrive in the United States. Now, it's not clear which passengers from which countries will be a part of this, but high-risk countries right now include Italy, South Korea, Iran, and China. Hey, for the latest news on all the coronavirus, it's a lot to process, and we have it all easy to find for you on WPTV.com/coronavirus.
Right now, the Florida Highway Patrol is trying to figure out what led to the death of a woman in the middle of I-95 in St. Lucie County. FHP says 67-year-old Marie Moreno of Palm City was in the center southbound lane of the highway at yesterday morning, and she was near a stalled car also in the center when a second vehicle hit that car and then her. The case is still under investigation. Now, that death comes as Florida makes it to the top of a dangerous list. New study is revealing that pedestrians killed in the U.S. has hit a 30-year high, the number of them. The study suggests large SUVs, warm weather, and drugs and alcohol could all be the problem. Governor's Highway Safety Association says more than 6,500 people were killed walking on or near a road in 2019, and that's the highest since 1988. Florida, California, and Texas have the most pedestrian deaths.
Right now, we're waiting to learn the name of a person who died after jumping into the Intercoastal in Singer Island. Riviera Beach Police said this man was fishing Saturday about 10 p.m. on the small bridge connecting Singer Island with the mainland. Police say he jumped into the water to get a fishing pole he dropped. His body was found near the area the next morning.
Well, today a new transitional housing village opens in South Palm Beach County. Place of Hope will hold a special ribbon cutting for the facility in Boca Raton. Complex will have 16 furnished apartments for young people who have aged out of foster care, as well as single mothers and trafficking victims. The housing village will be located just off Boca Rio Road next to the Place of Hope.
This week, Florida Power and Light giving back to the community, kicking off their Power to Care event. Company employees are going to spend the next week volunteering across the state. You're looking at some of the past service projects right now. In our area, FPL is kicking off the week of service at the Boys and Girls Club in West Palm Beach. 75 volunteers will be there to paint, clean, and even organize that facility. Let's get organized with your forecast right now because a big temperature difference no matter where you're waking up, Glenn.
Absolutely. Like in Port St. Lucie, for example, it's 54 degrees right now. That compared to West Palm Beach, which is sitting at 70 degrees right now. By the time we get to early this afternoon in Port St. Lucie, we'll be at about 77 degrees. The same temperature for West Palm Beach. So although everyone is starting off a little differently this morning, we'll all sort of break even by early this afternoon. Partly sunny skies, breezy winds out of the southeast, about a 10% chance for a few passing showers today. We'll talk about when we could see higher chances for rain, a big warm up, and a bigger cool down. That's coming up in your forecast, Holly.
Maintaining great speed this morning as you do head out Martin Highway, Indiantown, about, look at that, 20 minutes there. Switched from 19. Not bad, though. Not really a difference. 4 minutes if you're also taking I-95, heading from Belvedere cruising south to 6th Avenue South.
6:09 right now. Your health information may be shared online by a company that says it'll save you money. The new changes to make sure you know what's happening to your data. A hostage situation in the Philippines. About 30 people being held up by a gunman at a shopping mall. The breaking details right here at the live desk.
Breaking news from WPTV News Channel 5.
Calls for justice reaching South Florida as protesters take to the streets for George Floyd. WPTV News Channel 5 Stephanie Susskind and Cameron Eppinger are live on the ground this morning showing you the aftermath and what's going on right now, plus the preparations local leaders are taking.
A moment of unity across Okeechobee Boulevard with protesters and drivers stopping for 8 minutes for a powerful statement.
There were dozens of powerful images, pictures, video as communities came together to be heard. This is going to be the top story of your day, not only locally but nationally. And we're tracking another very important story for South Floridians as well. Today's the first day of hurricane season. It's June 1st, but there's not much out there right now with Florida in its sights. But anyway, let's get a check of your forecast with WPTV First Alert meteorologist Glenn Glazer. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Mike. Yeah, somebody said it to me this morning, and I agree. Wow, it's already the beginning of hurricane season. That was pretty fast. Seems like the month just kind of flew by there. We've already had 2 named storms so far this season, even before the official start of the season. And we do have a disturbance down in the southern Gulf of Mexico. Meteorologist Katia Hall will be along shortly to talk more about that. It does not look like a threat to Florida, just something we're keeping our eyes on. Let me show you our current temperatures this morning. Very, very warm and humid across the area, low to mid 70s, and even some upper 70s down in our southern communities. On the radar, we don't have any rainfall right now in our area. We do have some showers and thunderstorms around the Cape just up to our north. If those continue to migrate south without falling apart, we could see that rainfall entering northern Indian River County after 8 o'clock this morning. Hour by hour, temperatures looking good. We're going to climb into the upper 80s by lunchtime today. That's where we'll top out for most of the area, but we do have some slightly cooler temperatures on the way for a good part of this week. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
You know, you can track weather anytime by downloading our free WPTV mobile app. Use that First Alert radar to watch any storms heading your way. You'll also get breaking weather alerts right in the palm of your hand.
Well, breaking news this morning, the curfew in West Palm Beach was just lifted moments ago after a weekend of protests. These protests will be in effect, these curfews will be in effect again this evening. That will run from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. tomorrow. People are being asked to peacefully disperse from any street in the city before then. And people may travel to and from work, of course, during this curfew. There's also a curfew in place for the town of Palm Beach until further notice.
You know, this morning we're getting a brand new look at protests that spilled onto I-95. This is from a viewer who watched peaceful demonstrators walk with deputies. You can kind of see them from the overpass right there. WPTV First Alert traffic. Johan Hoffen was in Chopper 5 while all of this happened. You can see the ground view here. Johan, you were in the sky yesterday. You saw this all transpire. You're up there now. What's it look like today?
And good morning, Mike. Yeah, yesterday was quite a scene as we did have the protesters move in from downtown West Palm Beach onto I-95, and no type of violence along with police or the protesters yesterday on the 95 corridor right here is Okeechobee Boulevard. 95 was shut down all the way from here to Belvedere Road, and that's Okeechobee Boulevard, as I've seen hundreds of protesters converge on 95. But right now, 95 and the Turnpike are accident and incident free all the way from Vero Beach into the Broward County line, and our side streets are back up to normal. Palm Beach Lakes working well along from Congress 295 and especially Forest Hill and Southern Boulevard, Okeechobee. No problems getting to your destination for your Monday morning commute. That's a quick check of traffic. I'm Johan Hoffman in Chopper 5. Back to you.
Thanks, Johan. Well, we continue our team coverage with a look on the ground now. WPTV News Channel 5 Stephanie Suskind and Cameron Eppinger are doing that for us. And let's show you what we're seeing in downtown West Palm Beach right now. If you take a look right here, you can see this window. It is shattered, not broken, but you can see how the glass is just kind of spidering out like this. We've seen several windows like this throughout the downtown West Palm Beach area, this 500 block of Clematis. Now, we know that the protest, it all began peaceful. It was mostly centered at that intersection right there of Quadrille and Clematis. That's where there was a large crowd gathered earlier in the day, but witnesses tell us that after the peaceful protest and the crowd started to disperse, that's when things started to change a bit. Now, police responded out here and announced there was a 9 p.m. curfew and that everyone had to leave. Now, when people did not immediately start leaving and heeding those warnings from police, local business owners tell us that's when police used tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse the crowd. And one business owner tells us he believes that's what damaged his storefront.
Right after that were when the shields, and they escalated it. Right after that. It was completely unnecessary, unfortunately.
So business owners, as they wake up this morning, will be coming out here to survey the damage. Now, there's a lot of construction going on Clematis. You can see that all of these slabs of concrete, rocks, all of the equipment out here. So when we survey the damage, things certainly could have been worse with so many people out here protesting. But again, not what these business owners want to wake up to, and certainly they'll be out here checking out damage this morning. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Stephanie Suskind, WPTV News Channel 5. Well, West Palm Beach Mayor Keith James is speaking after a weekend of protests, both peaceful and tense. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
I would imagine that most of the bad actors, there's about 200 people that that I'm told, are probably from outside of West Palm Beach. They probably aren't even residents of our city, and that's what's most frustrating.
Again, the curfew in West Palm Beach will be in place again tonight at 9 o'clock and last until tomorrow morning.
Okay, South Florida, not the only part of the state seeing protests turn into somewhat chaotic. Take a look at this. At Tampa, a sporting goods store went up in flames over the weekend with people stealing merchandise. Champ Sports across from University Square Mall, if you're familiar with that part of Tampa, burned to the ground Saturday night. You can see them carrying shoe boxes out of the store. At least that one person is right there. Well, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office says 2 deputies were injured when demonstrators turned and threw objects at them. Not clear if any of the suspected looters were taking part in a demonstration earlier in the day. In tension in Tallahassee, a peaceful protest turned violent when a truck drove into a group of protesters. Video shows the car being surrounded as someone hit the passenger inside. The driver was arrested. Investigators say they're talking to witnesses to see who exactly was at fault. Meanwhile, Tallahassee police issued a statement saying, quote, mutual respect among all of us is vital. In response to a few protests that erupted in violence, Governor Ron DeSantis has activated the National Guard. Soon, more than 400 guardsmen will be deployed to their facilities in Miramar, Jacksonville, and Tampa. At this point, still unclear if local law enforcement plans on using their services. We'll let you know, of course, if they do.
All right, hundreds of people marched from Rosemary Square to the Intracoastal Waterway in West Palm Beach in a rally billed No Justice, No Peace. Protesters blocked Okeechobee Boulevard and kneeled for 8 minutes, and that's the same amount of time a Minneapolis police officer kneeled on the neck of George Floyd before his death. Organizers were adamant about remaining peaceful. Well, the peaceful protests and calls for justice continued at Veterans Park in Delray Beach, where dozens of people gathered to pay tribute to George Floyd there. We spoke with Palm Beach County Mayor Dave Kerner, who pointed out the majority of the protests were indeed peaceful. He said even members of law enforcement helped to preserve the First Amendment rights of protesters. Mayor Kerner also had this to say about the rioters and looters who showed up later.
Those bad actors that aren't there for the right purpose, those actors that go out and commit crimes, acts of violence and lawlessness, they are not there to support the message of the larger issue that's going on in society. They're taken away from the message, and obviously their interests aren't aligned with the peaceful protesters.
Mayor Kerner also had said that local law enforcement is well trained to properly handle protests. He went on to say chaos will not be tolerated in the county. You can stay with WPTV News Channel 5 on air, online, and our news app as we continue our coverage of the aftermath of George Floyd's death.
Switching gears, you know COVID-19 appears to be affecting how some might evacuate during a hurricane. There's a new survey from AAA out this morning showing 29% of Floridians were less likely, according to them, to evacuate a hurricane due to COVID-19. Nearly a third surveyed said they were more concerned about this year's hurricane season, though, than last year. AAA says develop an emergency plan now. Several destinations outside of this area where a hurricane might hit, that's what you want to plan for, because some shelters and hotels might not have vacancy because of the pandemic. Remember, the Hurricane Preparedness Sales Tax Holiday is going on right now. That means you can get a break on sales tax for qualifying storm supplies through this Thursday, June 4th. We have the list of items you can get tax-free on our website, WPTV.com. All right, 6:09 right now. Speaking of which, June 1st, it's a good time as any to check in the tropics. Katya, you're tracking what's behind you right now.
Yep, and this is a little something. This is the remnants of Tropical Storm Amanda, which formed in the eastern Pacific and moved right here in the Yucatan Peninsula. So it is producing this area of showers and thunderstorms, and the National Hurricane Center is saying once it moves north-northwest in this area, so the Bay of Campeche, over the next couple of days, it could take on some tropical characteristics. Right now, they're giving it about a 60% chance of formation into the next 48 hours. Regardless of development, it is going to bring some pretty heavy rainfall to parts of Central America over the next several days, which could lead to some mudslides there. Long-range models take this system and push it somewhere near Louisiana or Texas by the weekend or early next week. So we're still a ways out here. We'll keep you in the loop of what's going on there. Currently, no impacts to us here locally. We'll take a look at your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Right now it's 10 minutes after 6. Stores damaged in West Palm Beach as protesters took to the streets. We're checking with WPTV News Channel 5's Ryan Hughes for the situation on the ground there.
The White House is now calling Antifa terrorists as it blames the violent protests on anti-fascist organizers. We have the latest from the live desk right here on WPTV News Channel 5.
Now on News Channel 5.
We haven't seen weather like this in over a year. Coming up, we're going to talk about just how cold it's going to get tonight. Coming on up.
In just hours, history will be made. President Donald Trump's impeachment trial starts in the Senate today.
Our team will have complete coverage all day long to get you ready for the moments that matter.
And tremors, they are still happening in Puerto Rico, but locals are standing their ground. We have a team live on the island bringing you the latest. But first, so glad you're joining us. I'm Mike Trim here with Holly Davis. And for actually today, grab a coat, maybe even a sweater. There's a chill in the air today.
Yeah, Florida could be seeing some of the coldest weather of the year. Johan Hoffman and Katya Hall, they're tracking what it means for you, that morning commute in general.
Kicking things off with Katya. How cold are we seeing it out there?
Well, we're in the 50s and the 40s across the area right now. That's 10 to 20 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. So if you didn't think yesterday was that bad, well, this morning you might want to just take that jacket before you step out the door. We're looking at low 50s along the coast, 43 in Okeechobee, 43 in Indiantown, and low 50s right now in Wellington. So as you're stepping out the door this morning, we're looking at mid to low 60s for the morning hours and then 65 degrees by 9 a.m. And then we're going to warm things up into around the mid to upper 60s this afternoon. We'll take a look at how cold things are going to get tonight. It's going to be one of the coldest nights we've seen since November 2018 here in West Palm Beach. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Crossing the area. Hey, good morning, everybody, on this Tuesday morning in the Deerfield Beach area. If you travel southbound 95 and you go into the Deerfield Beach, Broward County area, we have a bad crash here at Sample Road. This is just a little bit before Sample Road, southbound 95. It only has one of the left lanes blocked or open here. All the right lanes are blocked, and they're bottlenecked in here. So if you travel Deerfield, Broward, maybe even going to the Sawgrass Expressway, it gets slow around Hillsborough and Southwest 10th. So be aware of that for the long haul. Otherwise, Treasure Coast and the Palm Beaches 95 and the Turnpike up to speed for your Tuesday morning. Quick check of traffic. Johan Hoffman and Chopper 5. Let's go to Erica.
Johan, thank you. Erica Rico here at the live desk. After much anticipation, the day is finally here. President Trump's impeachment trial begins this afternoon. The president, though, is out of the country. In fact, this is a live picture right now of him speaking on stage in Switzerland. He's at the World Economic Forum. For the last several minutes, he's talked about how much our economy has grown since he took office 3 years ago. But as for his impeachment trial, Democrats, they don't like the rules, and Republicans, they want to get it over with. Start time, 1 o'clock this afternoon. Today, the Senate expected to adopt the resolution, and then arguments by both sides will begin tomorrow. After arguments, lawmakers get 16 hours to ask questions in writing. The House impeached the president last month on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The nation with really a front row seat to these historic proceedings on Capitol Hill. Mike, I know a new poll out this morning revealing what Americans are making of all of this.
That's right. It's a CNN poll. 51% of Americans think President Trump should be removed from office. That 51% of people surveyed also say the Senate should vote to convict the president in the upcoming impeachment trial. Now, 45% of the people were against conviction and removal. Surveyors also asked about 2 charges against the president. 58% believe he did abuse his power.
6:03 this morning, parents, as you drop your kids off at Vero Beach High School, grief counselors will be there. This is tied to a shooting over the weekend. A recent grad was killed.
Yeah, WPTV News Channel 5's Heini Rodriguez is live in Vero Beach with much more on this extra support today.
Good morning, Mike and Holly. Those grief counselors will be available here for students at Vero Beach High School, at the Freshman Learning Center, as well as the Alternative Center for Education. I'm also expecting to hear from the Indian River County Schools superintendent. They're going to comment about the recent deadly shooting Sunday night. Investigators say a Vero Beach High School senior, 18-year-old Camden Stuckins, fired at least 2 shots into a car with 5 people inside, killing 20-year-old Caltravius Jones, known as Trey, who recently graduated from Vero Beach High School. Jones was the driver of the car that investigators say had at least 3 Vero Beach High School students inside. We're told a second person is also recovering from critical injuries. We're working to learn on get an update on their condition. And then I'm also told, according to investigators, they're still trying to find the gun used in this shooting. For now, reporting live here outside Vero Beach High School, I'm Heini Rodriguez, WPTV News Channel 5.
All right. You can see the cold weather out there as well, but thank you, Heini, for talking about that story. Listen to this.
You knocked on my door, but I opened the door and I confronted it, and I'm still alive.
Boy, that sentiment still ringing true in Puerto Rico as earthquakes continue to shake the island.
Families are choosing to live outside in tents instead of in their homes. It's just not safe. Vanessa Areza with our Tampa sister station, WFTS. She is live in Puerto Rico this morning. Vanessa, I know you've been there a couple days now. Take us through some of the things that you've been seeing.
Good morning to you both. Right now we are in the town of Ponce, and this is one of the hard-hit areas, and we have seen examples of that. We spoke with people yesterday who continue to live in tents because they are so fearful that another earthquake will come, that if they are inside of their house, that they will be hurt. We, in fact, felt those shakes last night here in our hotel room, at least 3 of them, 2 of them right after one another. Now go ahead and take a look at this video that we got yesterday. We were in Ponce, that's where we began our morning, but then we headed about 25 miles west to the town of Guanica. That's where we found about 100 people living in tents. We spoke with a gentleman who tells us he's been sleeping on the ground in an open parking lot since January 7th, and that's because he's too afraid that his concrete house will cause him harm if there's another earthquake. He says right now, it's like everyone is a zombie because they just can't sleep with all of these tremors. What do you want to see?
My house. A house. We need a house. We need to live in a house. Because right here is no living.
And I asked Dario, the man who you just heard there, when do you think that you will feel safe enough to go back inside of your house? He says, you know what, as long as we continue to feel these tremors, I feel safer sleeping here on the ground in an open parking lot rather than inside of my own home. Mike, Colony.
And Vanessa, just to reiterate, situation dire for some. Have they been able to get the supplies they need, the water, the food? How is that situation?
They have, which we've seen in the news. It's been quite controversial, right, with that warehouse here in Ponce. But I asked Dario that, where are you getting your supplies? He said, you know what, we have so many volunteers who are coming here, who are helping us. And we saw kind of a makeshift supply area in Ponce where there were diapers, there was water, what these people need. And actually, I spoke with a gentleman who came from Massachusetts here to Puerto Rico with a church organization because there were some contacts he knew. He said, you know what, they needed help, so we were on our way. So we are seeing people come in to help them, and it's situations like these where we see that humanity is alive and well.
To hear that. We have so many families who live here with direct ties to Puerto Rico, and so kind of assurances all around. Thank you so much. We're going to let you go and get to work reporting.
Thanks, Vanessa. Happening today, a man accused in a deadly Christmas Day crash. He's expected in court. According to Florida Highway Patrol, Gino Hieronymo was drunk when he lost control of his Ford Explorer back in 2018, flipped on Interstate 95, killing 2 of his passengers. He's now charged with DUI, vehicular homicide, and is expected to make a plea as early as today.
A man accused of dozens of attacks in South Florida, eventually nicknamed the pillowcase rapist, is in custody. The suspect, Robert Kohler, is accused of brutally raping at least 44 women in the 80s. The Miami Herald reports police arrested him this past weekend near his home in Palm Bay. Detectives say the 60-year-old covered his face with towels or shirts when he went after his victims from Miami to Deerfield Beach over a 5-year period.
Human trafficking is taking center stage in Florida. Attorney General Ashley Moody is holding a news conference today to talk about anti-trafficking efforts ahead of the NFL Pro Bowl. That game's happening in Orlando this weekend, and major events like that are known to attract traffickers. We'll keep an eye on this news conference, let you know how anti-trafficking efforts will affect you if you're headed to Orlando this weekend.
The U.S. mailing system could be contributing to tens of thousands of deaths. We're talking every year. According to a new report, there are too many packages coming in from overseas, and many of them have counterfeit or deadly drugs inside. The FDA says it can only inspect less than 1% of those packages where drugs are suspected.
CBP looked at this one package that came in, and basically it took them a few hours to determine that they needed to open it, to tell whether there was something in it, and of course they found some contraband in it.
There is new baggage screening technology that does make it easier, not to mention quicker, to detect those drugs. Federal officials are in talks with the maker to add them to mail facilities.
A new list of the most educated states is out. Florida falls near the middle. The Sunshine State ranked as the 27th most educated state out of 50. One area where Florida received high marks was for education, though. This is a Wallet Hub study that ranked the state as 4th in that category. The study points it out it's harder to get education in Florida. For that, the state came in 36th place. Massachusetts, by the way, is the most educated state in that survey.
Local cities are getting ready for this winter blast.
There's a cold weather shelter open right now in Vero Beach.
It's at a Christian outreach ministry called The Source on Commerce Avenue. Guests were expected to arrive and register before 11 o'clock last night. We are waiting to learn if the shelter is going to be open again this evening. In the meantime, Vero Beach police, they say that facility needs blankets, hats, gloves, and donations just in general. If you can spare it, they are in need. You might want to bundle up too this morning, although we haven't even seen the worst.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet, and it is going to get cooler and cooler as the day progresses.
Get ready.
Maybe even record-breaking temperatures, Katya?
Well, it'll be the coolest day since November 2018 tonight. So we haven't seen temperatures like that in West Palm Beach in over a year. So tonight, those temperatures dipping into the low 40s across the area. But with that wind picking up, it's going to feel like the 30s out there. Here's a look at our temperatures right now. It's on the cool side, 43 in Okeechobee, and we're looking at low 50s along the coastline right now at 52 out in Boynton Beach. Boca this morning, as you're heading out the door, you might need that jacket. Our temperatures starting off in the low 50s. Daytime highs this afternoon only in the upper 60s, so it's going to be a nice cool day. And then for this evening, our temperatures in the upper 50s, and it's tonight when we're really going to see those temperatures drop. We'll talk more about that in just a couple minutes.
Chopper 5 time saver traffic this morning. Let's get you some drive times. Okeechobee Boulevard on the Turnpike to Boynton. About 10, 11 minutes there. About 9 if you're heading from Boynton to Boca. Keep in mind we are following a crash with slowdowns right around Sample if you're taking I-95 into Pompano.
Mental health meeting trains as Brightline tackles a tough and deadly issue on and off the tracks.
Congressman Brian Mast speaking out this morning about Lake Okeechobee. The details of his concerns coming up.
Snake versus trapper right here in Florida with the two fighting it out.
It was a highlight reel to beat all highlight reels as we wrap up the 2020 Python Ball. You're watching WPTV News Channel 5.